Hello and welcome after a fantastic performance and 3 points against Swansea City. I'm delighted to be joined by former Town midfielder Paul Reid and of course a man who needs no introduction whatsoever, Mel Booth. 35 years of reporting on Huddersfield Town. How are you both? You okay?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, fine. Thanks, Adam.
Fantastic. I think you can both agree, firstly, it was an excellent result. If you watched our preview show, Huddersfield Town fans, we said that this game would be a barometer to see how far we've come under Carlos Corberán so far. Starting with you, Paul, how good a result do you think this is?
Oh, it's an excellent result. Teams who normally come to Swansea, they sit back and they'll invite pressure after pressure after pressure. And obviously watching the games, first time I've seen Huddersfield play this season, when Campbell wasn't in the lineup, I'm thinking, right, he's going to go really, really defensive. I think a lot of supporters probably would have thought that as well. But from the first minute, they pressed, they harassed and harried. And, it was a really, really good disciplined team performance right from the first minute right to the last minute. And at times they played some really good football, played out from the back. I think if you look back for the goal, the winning goal, it actually started from the goalkeeper. So I was really impressed with the way they stuck to obviously they had a game plan. They stuck to it. They worked hard and they worked hard as a team.
Yeah, 100%. Mel, we said, obviously, Swansea City, very good side. They got 3 clean sheets in their last 4 games. This was their first defeat. It's a big statement almost, isn't it? And a really big platform that you can then build on this win.
Yeah, it's a terrific result for Town. As Reid said, it was a hard-working performance. First half, you could argue that Town got pushed too deep. They were almost defending with 6 men at times. But after that, I thought the second half we got better and better and better. And there were some terrific individual performances in there. But to go to Swansea, as you say, unbeaten so far this season, off the back of 4, it depends which way you look at it for Town, 4 points out the first 4 games against the opposition that we've been up against is, you could argue that's pretty decent, a point a game, right, coming off the back of a real struggle last season. But then to go down to Swansea and to pick up the 3 points, and deservedly pick up the 3 points as well, is really good. And to actually look at the table and see Town in the top half, it really does make a difference after what's been a year of struggle. And, a year of struggle can be summed up by the fact that that's only the 3rd away win this calendar year. So it just shows you how important a result it is, Adam.
And 7 points from the last 3 games, Mel. I know you've taken your Huddersfield Town hat off a little bit since obviously departing your role at the Examiner, but things are starting to take shape now under Carlos, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I mean, you could see it even in pre-season when I was still working, and the games, particularly against Manchester United. I thought you could see in that game you could see the intent and the shape that he wanted to create, and some of the sort of nuances between the departments that he wanted to create. And we're now seeing them, particularly in the second half today. You could see how he wants the play to expand from the back. And I think elements of it today were very good, as Reid said earlier. And that is very encouraging, because from there you can create a platform. And when you look at the players that we've got to come back, then it's even, and we've seen a couple of them today. Obviously, it's fantastic to see Shindy and Lewis back involved again, and with the players that are still out there to come back and to help the squad, very encouraging and timely result.
Yeah, 100%. Reedy, we have to talk about the winning goal. Obviously, Josh Koroma, in previous matches, he's had a couple opportunities and not put them away. But how good was that finish? The composure, first of all, before he had the shot.
Yeah, it was, as I said before, you look back at the goal again, it started from the goalkeeper rolling the ball out. And obviously, as Mel said, the second half, they played some really good football, created really good chances and could have had 2 or 3 goals in that second half. But no, the boy took his goal really, really well. But if you look at it on the reverse side of it, if you were a Swansea manager or Swansea supporter, them situations there, you've got to die in the box to block them shots. No, not taking anything away from the finish. It was a superb finish and a really good goal from Huddersfield point of view. But looking on the other side, because obviously I'm living down in this area, so all my mates will be saying, "Oh, what happened? Or they should have closed him down." And they'll analyse the game as a lot of supporters do. But again, as Mal said, overall, I think they deserve. They had a couple of half chances. Swansea first half, the keeper made some great saves. And I wrote some notes down during the game, analysing it. And it was interesting what Mel said about Lewis Hogg dropping back into the back 5 to make a 6. And I put down, it's strange how he's doing that, but it was effective. With Hogg, I know what he's like. He's a nasty, horrible little player to play against. Probably a bit like but he'd done a job for the team. He got everyone around him going. He put his tackles in. He was nasty. He was niggly. And again, it was just a good all-round team performance. And the players can be very proud, and as can the manager, because it shows that the players do care for the club.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could see that after the final whistle was blown as well. Sticking with Josh Koroma, Mel, obviously he had a year of development almost last year at the club, went out on loan to Rotherham and didn't really get the game time he'd have wanted. But since he's come back to the club this year, he looks almost like a different player under Carlos, doesn't he?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, let's face it, we signed him to develop him. You don't take someone out of the National League and promote them up a couple of divisions and think, he's automatically going to slot in. It was obviously going to be a work in progress. And that little spell at Rotherham, even though he didn't get the game minutes that he would have wanted last season, he was around a successful setup. He's come back full of confidence. He's been given a specific role. He knows what he has to do, and it suits him. Cutting him from the left-hand side is everything he did at Leyton Orient, and some of the goals he scored were fantastic. And I was really chuffed for him because, he's had a few opportunities this season, and they haven't gone in for him. And then in his head, he might be thinking, oh, crikey, I need to get that first town goal. And today, as Paul said, he's cut inside. It's a really good finish because he could have taken a wild swipe at it, but he's seen the angle, he's seen the corner, and he's dinked it straight inside the post, which is a great finish, really good finish. And I'm absolutely delighted for him because that'll do him the world of good. And hopefully, with Carlos Corberan's encouragement and the encouragement of his teammates, now Lewis O'Brien's back in there with if he's going to be playing sort of drifting out left, Lewis is naturally going to go that way with his left foot now that he's back in the mix, whether he's playing centrally or whether he plays out there as well. And it's only going to get stronger from that point of view, and that can only benefit a player like Josh Koroma. And the lad's got some talent, and hopefully we'll now see it blossom.
How important, Reid, is a first goal for a young striker who's, like Mel said, he jumped up the leagues over the last season. How important is that confidence?
Yeah, it obviously it breeds of confidence when you get your first goal for your new club. It doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're an experienced player, you go somewhere, getting that first goal is always important. But the thing that I like about him as well is his work rate off the ball. I think there was a point in the second half where he's chased back, and he's unfortunately gave a free kick away, but I don't think it was a free kick. How old is the boy? Is he quite young?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
2021. 2021. See, he's getting experience at a championship level, and that can only stand him in good stead for the future. I think with players like that, obviously the manager trusts him. I think it's down to obviously the supporters at the minute aren't watching the games, but to support players like that, I've been in that same situation. When you're a young player, you want to impress all the time, and you hope you have the backing of the supporters. So especially today after that performance, he has got bags of ability, and hopefully for Huddersfield there'll be more from him to come in the future.
100%. And Reid, you mentioned the fluidity in the shape. Obviously, Jonathan Hogg sitting back sometimes to make it a 6. The wing backs pushing on. It seemed like even though that was the first time that we played that formation, everyone knew exactly the role they needed to play, exactly where they needed to be, which is good coaching, isn't it?
It's excellent because, I've seen Swansea play over the years and they do dominate possession. And the way he's set up today, he hasn't set up defensively. He's set up to do a job. They've passed the ball well. They've worked hard. They've stopped Swansea from playing. And, they got the just reward with 3 points away from home. So, the manager must be chuffed to bits with his backroom staff as well as himself for, setting the team up well. Going through what they've been through during the week, and it's all paid off. And that's what matters as a football player. You work hard during it. Yes, sometimes it's boring. You go through shape. You've got to stop this player. This is how they do. But it all builds up to that one thing on a Saturday is going out there and winning a game of football, because that's what it's about at this level. It's winning a game of football. So It doesn't matter how you do it. It all depends on the philosophy of your club. Swansea, they want to do it. They want to get it down. They want to pass it. And the way Huddersfield did today, especially, as Mel said, in the second half, they proved they can pass the ball around.
Yeah, 100%. And Mel, I can imagine for you must be delighted you're not reporting on it now. The amount of tactical changes and the fluidity in Carlos's systems, it would have given you a right headache, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's far much more different to Reid's day. Anyway, everybody knew what they were doing then, but it all seems so much simpler. That is for sure. But hopefully the results will keep on coming. But it's great to see players from the. I mean, I thought the 3 central defenders today were fantastic. I thought they were awesome. At different times in the game, every single one of them stepped forward, whether it was Sarr, confident on the ball as well, Stearman, terrific, and he was involved going forward as well in the second half. You wouldn't have said that 6 months ago. and Schindler coming back into the team and playing so impressively. I thought they were terrific. But that sort of is going to breed confidence. I thought those 3 particularly caught the eye. Obviously, Toffolo. And there could have been more goals, as Reid said at the start of the second half. I mean, how Isaac Mbenza's shot hasn't gone in, and then Toffs gets a touch when it comes back. Toffolo gets a touch as it flies across the goal. How it's not gone in, I don't know. And then Harry Toffolo, when the second chance comes in, and he turns his man brilliantly in the box. I mean, all it's missing is the finish. I mean, that literally is all it's missing. But it just shows the intent of the system and the freedom it gives people to express themselves in different areas of the pitch. And I thought it was very, very encouraging, because if those had gone in, Town would only have blossomed further. It was a shame they had to wait till 67, 68 minutes for that to get the noses in front again. But there were let-offs. Let's not gloss over those. There were times when Ayew should have scored in the second half. It was easier to score than to miss. But Ben Hamer's made a couple of really, really good saves as well, especially early on, I think from Lowe, was it? When he went through, he made a really stood strong, stood big, and made a really good save. That sort of thing gives people confidence. And I thought, as I said, and as Reid has alluded to, I thought as the second half unfolded, I thought we just got better and better and looked more confident going forward. And when he made the change with Bakuna to bring Lewis on, I thought that was a very, very well-timed change.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to talk about the opening goal as well. Obviously, Harry Toffolo grabbed it. Talk to us about how much confidence, Reid, you think that gave Huddersfield Town and the players, because obviously they're playing a new system. Swansea had dominated the early proceedings. We were settling into the game. When you then go ahead, it just lifts you, doesn't it?
It just settles the nerves a little bit. The players aren't thick. They know coming to Swansea is going to be a difficult game. 9 times out of 10 they'll hardly see the football. But today was completely different. And you look at the first goal from a short corner. You look at yourself and think, right, was that pre-planned or was it off the cuff? If it's off the cuff as a man, you think, oh, that's brilliant. But again, 2v1 on a corner, that should never happen. But to be fair, they've got it down, they played it quick, And anything happens in the box, if you don't shoot, you're never going to get a chance of scoring. And luckily, it's hit the target. And was it Toffolo scored with a cheeky little back heel, or probably a flick? But yeah, it just sets them up great. 1-0 away from home. There's more to come. What I didn't want them to do was sit back of that, and I don't think they did. Yes, Hogg dropped back into the back 5 or whatever at times, but the boys up front still pressed. The young boy, number 14, Aitin, he pressed as well to stop the 3 centre backs from playing out for Swansea, and they did go long a little bit, and that's unlike Swansea. So Huddersfield forced them into doing it. So they forced them, which was, again, from the manager's point of view, they probably worked on that right. If we press them, they like to pass it. We press them. They're going to go long. We win the first ball and make sure we pick the second one up.
And then obviously, Mel, it went 1-1. Andre Ayew scored a penalty. What was your take, first of all, on the penalty that Swansea were awarded?
I didn't think it was a penalty, but you could see, because of the way that where Ben was, he slightly left himself open to the guy. Obviously, he's crashed into him and gone over and claiming the penalty, but the ball had long gone. And I thought it was a very decision, personally. You could probably argue about it all day. You could make a case for it being given as well. But I seriously thought it wasn't a penalty. And I think you could see Ben Hamer, as they went off at half-time, was confronting the referee about it. He was very upset about it, as was Richard Stearman. I think because they realised that's not a penalty. The referee, I have to say, made some strange decisions during that game. And, at one stage I thought, oh no, Town are going to get undone here by a poor refereeing decision, which would have been a shame, the way that the game turned out. But personally, I didn't think it was a penalty. I could 20% maybe see what the referee has given it for, but I really didn't think it was a penalty. I thought it was very harsh.
We've spoke a lot about the character of these Huddersfield Town players, and I know lots has changed in terms of ins and outs over the last couple of years, especially. But in terms of character, Mel, for that to go against them and then to come out firing like they did in the second half, to Isaac Mbenza to hit the post, and like you said, Harry Toffolo to miss that golden opportunity as well, for them to keep going and to stick to the game plan, it was almost like they have a real belief in what they are doing.
Yeah, it certainly seemed that way, because as I said, as I've said 2 or 3 times already, I think the longer the game went on, the better Town got. And I think that belief came from keeping, at times they could have kept the ball better. And, that when you're playing reasonably well, you want to keep the ball. You don't want to be giving it back, especially to a team like Swansea, as Reid said, that, they're not unbeaten this season for no reason. They will press teams to death, especially at home. And you've not got to give them that time and space to do that. The best way to do that is to counter-attack, to get in behind them, get into those pockets of space further forward and have options to pass the ball and do that sensibly. And I think Town did it very professionally the longer the game went on. At the end, we're all biting our nails. It's set piece after set piece. You've got to stand up and defend. And they did. And that's the character that you're talking about, Adam. That's the character. Yeah. You've got to stand up. You've got to put bodies on the line. You've got to give people easy opportunities. And I don't think Town did that at any stage. And I think, the defensive efforts of the 3 central defenders, if that's what we'll call them, really rubbed off on everyone else. And I think you saw, certainly after Town went 2-1 ahead, you saw the determination in every single red shirt that those 3 points were coming back to West Yorkshire.
Yeah, I think you could see it on the bench, obviously being in the stadium as well. Even Carol Eiting, who came off, was stood on the touchline shouting encouragement. Really, this is the first time that, like you say, you've seen Huddersfield Town play this year. What was your take on the team, on the performance?
Well, it does. I've said previously, I thought it was an excellent performance. Again, they stuck to their guns. I just wrote something down as I was watching the game, like the last 10 minutes. So when, you know, you're winning 2-1, you're away from home. What do you do? What do you do as a team? As Mel said, they did 3 defenders, won every cross that came into the box. They won every header. So they had a couple of corners, and I'm thinking, right, let the boys go and deal with it. But the keeper's come out a couple of times, missed it, and you think to yourself, as a manager, right, that the keeper should be staying on his line. Let them 3 defenders deal with the ball. Let them head it. That's what they get paid for. It's as simple as that. But no, as I said, I keep going over it again. You know, they sort of gelled as a team. They defended well. At times, they passed it really well. Yes, they gave the ball away at times, and you know, they could do a little bit better in the final third, especially the first period, because the ball was going up to the two strikers and it was coming straight back. Again, what they did second half, again, they showed the young boy, Ben Cabango, they showed him in down the centre. So where all the bodies were, he's coming through there. Sometimes he's played it long and he's just gone straight out. And the other time he's tried to play it into feet and there's just no space there because there's Huddersfield bodies all around there. But no, it's a really impressive performance. You know, I keep saying that again. And I think, obviously, there's more to come from him.
Yeah, I think on that, Mel, more to come is hopefully the right way to put it, especially like you alluded to earlier with Christopher Schindler, obviously starting back after his injury layoff, Lewis O'Brien making his first appearance of the season after being out for a long period, and Alex Pritchard on the bench as well after he was injured. So there's bodies coming back for what is a very hectic schedule coming up to the next international break.
Yeah, you're quite right to mention the hectic schedule, because this is a fan. You know, we're going into 3 games a week now, and this is a fantastic tonic for Town with Derby County to come on Tuesday night. A really, really timely result. But when you think of, you know, we've talked about the quality of the 3 centre-backs. Tommy Elphick, obviously, is coming back off a long injury, but he's going to be back before too long, you would hope. Romani Edmonds-Green is one who we expected to have seen by now, and we haven't done. Fantastically talented young player who, again, is going to strengthen that defensive department. And, you know, Pippa and Harry Toffolo, I mean, Toff, since he came to the club, has just been sensational for me. I think he's been a terrific signing for Huddersfield Town. And those 2 guys playing in that fullback role, in whatever sort of setup you want to go with, whether you want to go with the 3 at the back or you want to do it with a 4, they can play that and take on that attacking role where they're backing up the midfielders and taking attacking balls from the midfielders. And I thought it showed in the second half where, like Reid said, the ball was coming back far too much in the first half off the lads. We just couldn't get out of our own half at times because we couldn't hold the ball up. But in the second half, you saw Karoma take the ball in space, move it wide, wait for support, then people arrived, 2 or 3 options. It was so much better from Town, and they so deserved the win in the end because, as we said, the setup was terrific. Credit to the backroom staff, and the players stuck to the guns, and they showed all the determination and skill and effort and energy that you need to win a game away from home, a long way from home.
Reid, just final thoughts from you. Obviously, like we said, 7 points from the last 3 games, a win straight off the back of the international break, ahead of what is a very hectic schedule. For players and their confidence, this win could do massive things for them going into, like we said, what is an incredibly busy schedule now.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously listening to Mel speak and yourself speak, they've got players coming back as well. So players who are coming back who probably would start in the team. So that's like a massive plus point for the manager and the supporters, knowing that, you know, a team's gone there, missing several key players, and to put in a performance like that, you know, it's got to breathe some confidence in him. I just got a comment just to say about like the fullback Pippa, the right back. I think it's the last 2 minutes of the game that I think Swans have had a corner. They've got the ball out. The keeper's played it short, and he's making like a 70-yard run into the opponent's half. And you're thinking, what great desire. But then you look back and think, hang on a minute, do we really want that wing back pouncing all the way up there with like a minute to go? But that just shows you the desire of a player wanting to get forward, wanting to go on and do things. But the manager will probably analyse that and think, right, last minute, you don't do that. you stay where you are, and we'll see out that last minute. Keep your position, keep your shape. We'll see at the last minute we'll get the result. But fortunately, they got the result. So I think what they've got to do now is not sit back on that. Don't think, oh, we've gone to Swansea, we've got 3 points, we'll have a jolly up tonight. You know, they've got to look forward to the next game and want to breed like a winning mentality, want to go out there and win every single game that they play.
100%. It was JK time here at the Liberty Stadium. Mel, Paul, thank you very much for joining us, and fingers crossed we'll have another positive result against Derby County. Thank you.